Korea political crisis. Democratic Party's Broadcasting Act sparking heated debate. Filibuster. South Korea's ruling and opposition parties engage in heated battle over Broadcasting Act revision. In a shocking turn of events, the Democratic Party of Korea has introduced a revision to the Broadcasting Act, aiming to significantly reduce the National Assembly's influence over public broadcasting. The move has sparked intense conflict between the ruling and opposition parties, with the People's Power Party responding with a filibuster in an attempt to block the bill. The controversy began when the Democratic Party presented the revised Broadcasting Act, which would decrease the National Assembly's share of recommended directors for public broadcasting from 100% to 40%. The party claims that this change is necessary to prevent. However, the opposition party strongly disagrees, labeling the revised bill as an evil law that would give too much power to the Broadcasting Union, which is allegedly controlled by the National Federation of Democratic Trade Unions. The revised bill also includes provisions for a programming committee with the authority to organize public broadcasters, KBS, MBC, and EBS, as well as a national recommendation committee for presidential candidates. The ruling party argues that these measures are necessary to prevent public broadcasting from becoming a political battleground every time the government changes. But here's where it gets controversial. The opposition party claims that the revised bill would essentially hand over control of broadcasting, management, personnel, and editorial rights to the union, without sufficient public debate or consultation between the ruling and opposition parties. They argue that this would be a blatant disregard for parliamentary democracy and would have severe consequences for the media industry. The filibuster, led by Representative Shin Dong-wook, a former broadcast journalist, has been ongoing for over 24 hours, with the opposition party determined to block the bill. The fate of the revised Broadcasting Act remains uncertain, but one thing is clear. The conflict between the ruling and opposition parties is far from over. In a surprising twist, 15 non-contentious bills were passed at the plenary session, including the Elementary and Secondary Education Act, which abolished artificial intelligence AI textbooks, and the Local Currency Act, which established a basic plan for local currency and mandated financial support from the state. As the battle over the Broadcasting Act revision continues, one can't help but wonder, what's at stake for the future? EPP filibuster shakes South Korea's parliament. Broadcasting labor law showdown explained. South Korea's political drama just took a dramatic turn as the Conservative People Power Party, PPP, launched a high-stakes filibuster to stall a controversial legislative agenda pushed by the ruling Democratic Party, DP. This move, the first such tactic by the PPP in over a year, has thrown the timeline for critical bills, like the so-called yellow envelope reform, into chaos, potentially delaying votes until mid-August. But here's where it gets controversial. The DP claims the PPP's strategy is a cynical power play, while the PPP argues the DP is steamrolling democratic processes. Let's break it down. The immediate target? A trio of proposed amendments to the Broadcasting Act, the Foundation for Broadcast Culture Act, and the Korea Educational Broadcasting System Act. These bills aim to curb political interference in public media by limiting government influence over board appointments at KBS, MBC, and EBS. Critics, however, worry they could pave the way for unchecked liberal dominance in media governance. The PPP's filibuster, led by first-term lawmaker Shin Dong-wook, kicked off shortly after 4 p.m. Monday, forcing Democratic lawmakers to walk out of the session. For context, a filibuster in South Korea's National Assembly requires a continuous 24-hour debate session that can only be halted with 179 votes, 3/5 of all 298 lawmakers. The DP's 185-seat coalition holds the numbers to end the blockage, but even a single day's delay risks pushing votes beyond the current legislative session, effectively stalling progress for weeks. And this is the part most people miss. The stakes go far beyond media reform. Another contentious bill up for debate, the Trade Union and Labor Relations Adjustment Act, seeks to redefine who qualifies as an employer in labor disputes. This could ban companies from seeking damages against unions, even if strikes cause financial losses. Sound radical?